Pickleball is evolving quickly. Serves, drives, dinks, and volleys are all hit very different than they were just a couple years ago. And in 2025, I think the return of serve is due for its big overhaul. So today we're gonna be talking about one of the most important shots in pickleball, and that is the return of serve. So I'm gonna go over kind of three different styles or three different ways that you can approach this shot. I'm gonna talk about the pros and cons of each one, and I'm gonna tell you why I think in 2025, the aggressive return is gonna be the way to go. So when we're talking about the return of serve, there's a balance that we have to strike. There's always a give and take between the main two kind of goals that we have, which are number one, getting to the kitchen line, and number two, hitting a quality return. So I would say 4 or 5 years ago, the priority was put more on getting to the kitchen line. You were seeing more kind of slice returns, more underspin, a little bit of a floatier ball. So there wasn't much on the shot. It was hanging in the air longer, but the benefit of that is that gives you more time to get up there and get settled at the kitchen line. Obviously, the reverse of that would be the harder we hit the ball, the more we go after the return, the bigger swing we take, all of those things could sacrifice our ability to get to the kitchen line quickly. So we're gonna work through kind of what's the best formula of those two things. So let's start with version 1. I'm gonna call this the 2021 return of serve. It's gonna be underspin, it's gonna be a nice compact swing, and it's gonna be a big focus on moving through the ball, okay? So we were chipping the ball a lot, think of like a chip and charge in tennis, and we were hitting floatier returns that were giving us a lot of time to get up to the kitchen line. We started to realize that underspin helps our opponents a lot. The more underspin you hit means the more topspin that my opponent can hit. You were seeing at the pro level and then filtering down to other levels that people were going away from the underspin, and we were just hitting a little bit flatter returns, a little bit harder, but again, this concept that it was still kind of a push through the ball and using our body weight to move into the return. So we'll call that the 2023 return. What I think we're gonna see in 2025, and what I've been doing and noticing in a lot of our pro rec play games, is a fuller swing and a full-on almost ground stroke return with the main focus on hitting the ball very hard and deep. What you're gonna give up for doing this is you may be a step late to the line, but we can live with that because it's gonna make the third shot for our opponents so much more difficult if you're absolutely just ripping that return, laying into that ball, hitting it hard and deep. You're gonna have them on their back foot. So the main thing that I want you to do to practice this is we're gonna practice, focusing on how we actually finish our swing. So for example, if I was just back at the baseline hitting ground strokes, and I'm really trying to hit through the ball, I'm gonna have a full finish on either my forehand or backhand. Now for me, I've always had, when I return, it's always been kind of a different technique. Because I'm moving through it, that tends to cut the finish off a little bit, okay? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to practice keeping that full finish. We're gonna practice ground strokes first without any forward movement. So you're just gonna drive back and forth with your partner. Once you get that, then we're gonna try to add some forward movement to it while maintaining that full finish, really keeping that drive through the ball. So a couple things I want you to keep in mind. If you are gonna use this style of return, it's probably good that you try to get your partner more involved. If your partner knows that you're going for more and you're possibly gonna be maybe a step late to the line, we're expecting maybe a weaker third or maybe a weaker drive. So what I'd like to see is have your partner come over and help more and take a little bit more court, knowing that you're gonna be that step late. And remember that for this return of serve, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. This is gonna depend on how strong your ground strokes are, what maybe your tennis background is, what your movement level is. Keep in mind that one of these three versions of returns that we talked about is gonna work best for you, but I want you to keep this more aggressive option on the table. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. If you learned something and wanna see more content like this, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe.